In this video, we're going to look at how to use a two-variable analysis grid to project income. So this is the variable I use to look at potential income. It uses sale price, payout, number of titles, and sales per title. It's not perfect because I'm assuming that everything sells at the same price, which generally is not going to be true. But it is a nice, quick and dirty way to see how number of titles can impact overall income. Let's go build this. Again, the instructions are in the PDF for the class, but we'll build it live in Excel. So first we need our fixed values in the corner here. And by adding these in the corner, we're actually making this more of a 4-variable analysis grid than 2. And then you can format this as currency real quick, add some borders, double click so you can see that, add a little fill color, just a little cosmetics. Now we need a label, merge and center, bold, add a fill color, put a border around it. Now we need to do the same thing for the left-hand side. Merge and center. But we need to change the text orientation. Format cell alignment, 90. Then we want to middle align this and bold and give it a blue fill color too. And a border. Then we have our number of titles. And our sales per title. Except I somehow did this wrong. So I just messed this up. I did this in C4 instead of C5. So I'm just going to raise this up. And then I have to re-merge and center my label. And then we can put a border here, and a border here, and then a border here. You could do all of them at once, but then you'd have an extra border here. And then because these are fixed values, I like to add another fill color here. And then here's the formula we want. Okay, so equals, we want a fixed column D, and then we want row 4 here. So I'm off by a row because I made that little mistake. You will use the formula that's in the handout. And then we want to multiply that times E, and then $, 3 for me because again I was off, and then multiply that times B1, which is our price, which is always going to be fixed in this scenario, and then times B2, which is our payout, which is also always going to be fixed, so that's why I have $2 signs. So that when I copy this, we will always be referencing cells B1 and B2. Now you copy that. Let's go up here and double click. Alright, so look at this bottom cell, I14. It's taking D14, which is our number of titles, multiplying it by I3, the quantity for this column, and then multiplying it by 499 and by 70%. You can see how using these $ signs really helps, because I wrote the formula once and then I could just copy and paste it into all the other cells. And then we can do conditional formatting here and say greater than, again, let's say you want 2,000. So these are all the various ways for you to make that $2,000. You could have 2 titles selling 300 copies, or you could have 10 titles selling 60 copies each. And you can extend this down. So let's say you had 100 titles and they were selling 5 copies each. Close. 7 copies each. 6. There you go. So if you had 100 titles selling 6 copies each, you'd also be making that $2,000. Now let's discuss those income projections we just looked at. First off, This is not a perfect analysis. One of the biggest assumptions in what we just did is that all of your books are priced the same. And the reality of book sales is much more complex. You're going to have print sales, you might have audio sales, you might have KU page reads. And this grid isn't really breaking those all out and using all of those. It's also assuming that every single title is going to sell the same average amount of copies per month. And that's really not true. So I have published enough to know that the 80-20 rule, which is that you get 80% of your revenue from 20% of your effort, definitely applies. And I've actually done a little grid, and I would say my top 20% of my titles generate probably 90% of my revenue. But the nice thing about this grid is it's simple, and it makes you think things through. So instead of saying, let me polish this one title and re-edit it and get it perfect, what this is showing you is that maybe you would be better off moving on to the next title and the next title and the next title. It's definitely something to think about, if nothing else. All right, that is it for our calculations. In the next video, we'll do the conclusion.